When I first started playing Dark Souls 2, I didn't really have the best experience. Despite having beaten one a number of times, I was getting killed a lot and not entirely understanding why outside of the combat just kind of feeling clunky. Now, having played this game enough, it's clear to me that the simple reason is that Dark Souls 2 really wants to be played in a very different way from its predecessor. I'd go so far as to say it's closer to Bloodborne in style than Dark Souls 1. The redesign done in Scholar of the First Sin makes this even more pronounced. In this video, I'm planning to go over some techniques and concepts I've figured out over the course of playing that are universally useful throughout. If you, for instance, picked the game up recently, I hope this will make the combat make more sense if you've been struggling with it. First, let's get shields out of the way. There we go. Okay, maybe I should give my reasons for that. In my opinion, since almost no shields have 100% physical damage reduction, you might as well spend your stamina on evading and your shield arm on dealing the extra damage you need to kill enemies before they even have a chance to swing. Let's talk about attacking first. There are quite a few things worth keeping in mind when attacking enemies. First, never queue up more than one attack at a time. In Scholar in particular, you never know when more enemies will arrive to interrupt you. Queuing up too many attacks in a row will lock you out of rolling, which means you'll take hits when you really didn't need to. Don't mash on the attack button. Remember to never spend your last bit of stamina on an attack, unless you are absolutely 100% certain that that attack will kill. Always make sure you can roll away if something unexpected happens. Two-handing. On top of giving you a damage bonus, makes it so that your weapon won't bounce off enemy shields. This is particularly useful when one shield enemy is hiding in a group. When facing any stunnable enemy really, but groups in particular, try to preempt them. If you can get the first hit, you got a good chance of coming out of it unscathed. If you whiff your first attack, roll away, run away, and try to set up the same situation again. Use the space around you. Before I go into evasion, let me explain why I rarely use lock-on. Lock-on can be useful in particular against enemies who can backstab, like other players. Those are really rare though. When locked on, your character will react slower to roll and run inputs in certain directions. Also, if you're locked on and an opponent appears behind you, you would have to quickly turn off lock-on and lock onto them instead. And even if you react very quickly doing this, it's not an instant action in-game, so basically lock-on costs you reaction time. Now, evasion. A very useful tool for dealing with both individuals and groups of enemies is to walk into their attack range until they start up an attack animation and then walk back out. Simply stepping out of range of an opponent's move is a very powerful technique since it costs you no stamina at all. The next best thing to stepping is running. It costs stamina, sure, but the instant you stop running, your stamina starts recovering. Running is extremely useful. It lets you counterattack enemies who just whiffed a swing, it lets you retreat when you're about to be cornered, or it lets you circle a group of enemies to get them all on one side of you if you're about to get surrounded. It lets you get to and take out isolated enemies before the rest of a group arrives. Run a lot. It's super good. Rolling is of course very useful also because of invulnerability frames. The same rule applies to rolling as it does to attacking though. Don't mash on roll. Getting hit at the end of a roll counts as a counter hit, which means that you take a ton of extra damage, which means that sometimes hits that you would normally be able to survive will just kill you. Therefore make sure you know why you're rolling before you do. For example, if you get surprised and knocked down by a large enemy, don't mash on roll so that you roll the instant you get back up. Often that will simply lead to you rolling right into an enemy's follow-up swing. Instead, Watch enemies just like you would if you were standing, and roll in reaction to what they do. Finally, if a battle looks like it's going badly, bait an enemy into starting an attack animation and then run away! Run behind a corner or a rock or something and heal. Don't be stubborn when the odds are against you. There's no reason to die as long as you have Estus left to chug. Alright, that's all for now, I think. Hopefully it ends up being useful. Thanks for watching.